Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order of the April 1st, 2024 Patton Township Planning Commission meeting, and no, that's not a joke. Does anyone have anything to add to the posted meeting agenda? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to line item 2. Can I have a motion on the minutes from our March 11, 2024 meeting?
Could I just ask one question about the minutes?
Sure, you can ask two.
I just have one. That is, this is the short-term highest priority commercial zoning districts is on the work plan. And that question, because there was other recommendations to add some things to the work plan, I just wondered if that was still in the work plan.
So no, we decided, we put what you had done before last year when you
Right.
talked about this. And then we picked things that, from there, but other things that need to get done first. So the streets ordinance, the sign ordinance, the workforce housing, the tree, and the planning commission education. So the commercial zoning district will come back, but likely not until 2025.
Okay. So even though we voted.
Well, that's why we wanted to revisit it, because we have a lot of moving parts this year, and the supervisors have set the workforce housing as their highest priority, and that's going to be a heavy lift with you guys as well, so.
Okay.
Any other questions on the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the March 11th meeting minutes.
Okay, can I have a second?
I second.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no. We've approved the minutes. Next is public comment. Does anyone from the public in person or on Zoom have anything that they would like to comment on that is not on the meeting agenda later? Okay, hearing none, we're going to go to line item 4, and that is a temporary use permit for Acres Project, 2400 Burnell Road. The Acres Project submitted a temporary use permit to hold a fundraising concert at their property located at 2400 Burnell Road. The event will take place Saturday, June 29th from 12 to 7 p.m. The map that is attached is going to illustrate the permitted use of the parking lot to accommodate this event. Does anyone have any questions? Does staff have anything else they'd like to add about this?
I have questions. I take it there's no one from the Acres Project here?
No.
One of my questions was the lot next door to them, kind of to the northwest, notified about this? I believe their address is 2432.
Did they notify the neighbors?
That I do not know if they notified the neighbors. If you want to make that a condition of the permit, when I issue the temporary use permit, I can put on there that they must notify the neighbors of the event.
I think we did this last year when they did this event as well,
Yeah.
that they had to notify.
Yeah, I was
the neighbors.
concerned about
We
the
did
noise.
that for the one out on Buffalo Run Road. Yes. Yes. We made that a condition that they had to notify the property owners.
Yeah.
By a certain date?
Yes.
Yeah.
Prior to the event, yes.
Only other thing I had is a comment, considering how loud is it going to be, and since they service autistic people, are they going to have autistic people there? Because a lot of autistic people cannot stand loud noises. I just thought it was kind of strange. You're going to have a concert or whatever.
Yeah, that I don't know.
My experience on that is when you're doing some sort of theater arts where an autistic individual does have a sound sensitivity, they will generally give them headphones or do something else to do it. Looking at this, where they had the stage, I have no problems because even with sound reinforcement, it's actually going to be less sound than you think going towards the neighbor's property. It's going to go towards those 3 and the PCBI Allen property. It's amazing how trees can actually block noise, and by that time, we should have some
Leaves should be out.
some leaves should be out and everything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there might be a little bit of reflection off the main house back towards the other house, but I think making it be a condition of the permit is a good idea.
Did they give any estimate of the size of the crowd or how they would manage kind of, you know, I guess if they ran out of parking spots or whatever?
No, this is the first time they're doing the event.
Evidently, they anticipate some crowd because they agreed to use the parking lot down, what is it, CBDIL?
PCBI.
Yeah. But I think that just sort of makes sense to have that, for them to ask from a planning standpoint for that. So realistically, I guess I personally don't see massive problems, but I would ask staff, do they have any comments, concerns that they see? Given their experience with other things like this, is there other things that we're missing?
I don't think so.
No, they did the event last year too, right?
No,
They did a
this
different
one-
event last year.
It was sale, it wasn't, aren't they the ones that did the farm stand?
Yeah, they did a
Yes,
farm
that's
stand,
what it
yes.
is.
Yeah, and we've
Farmer.
never had issues with, I don't think
No.
we've ever had issues with them doing events.
No.
I just think it's a courtesy to at least let the neighbors know that there's going to be,
We can ask them to do that ahead of the board's next meeting, which is April 10th.
okay. Sharon?
Yeah, I think as long as the neighbors have like 30 days.
Do you want to say by June 1st?
Sure.
Okay. Jim, is that reasonable?
I guess, but it still has to go to the board.
Right, yeah. So at least 30 days in
They should-
advance.
They should do it as soon as possible.
I would say April 5th, April 9th, you know, before it goes to the board. Because just from a planning standpoint, you know.
Oh, in case
done-
any of those people have a problem with it, they can show up at the board meeting.
Yes.
Right, and then
Okay, okay.
also that allows them to book their bands, book their sound people. A lot of this stuff is booking 90 days plus out, sometimes less than that, but, you know, we want to give them every opportunity to put on a good event.
So, okay, so what we're talking about is to notify the neighbor as soon as possible within the next week and/or prior to the board meeting.
I'd say prior to the board meeting.
Okay.
Even if they
Yeah,
have to go over.
that's a good point, yeah, I think that's it.
So by April 10th.
Yeah.
Okay, saying all that, any other comments? And can I have a motion?
I will make the motion to conditionally approve based on the condition that they notify the neighboring property. And we're only concerned about the one neighboring property right here, the one residential neighboring property.
I think they should notify all the neighbors.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
actually the sound is going to be coming out towards these farms that are across the road, or these properties that are not on Burnell, but,
I do think they should give them an estimate of how many people they think would be there.
well, I don't know if they would know that if they haven't done something like this before.
I would just sort of say, leave it with the sound one, and if this does not work out for them or there's problems, we'll know for the next year, and they will know for the next year. We'll give them a little slack this time, and, you know, if
Yeah.
something goes wrong,
The,
then,
the police department will be notified of this event, that way it's on their radar.
yeah. So, so continuing the motion, that they notify the surrounding property members, I will leave it to the staff to come up with the list of property members to notify, before the board meeting on
April 10th.
April
April
10th,
10th.
at time.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of voting in the affirmative to approve this event, with the knowledge that we are going to make a conditional recommendation that all of the neighbors, which staff will have their prerogative to speak with by April 10th of this event taking place, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Ayes have it. It's approved with the conditional recommendation. All right, so that takes us to our next item, which is line item 5, which is a Winsett Farms preliminary subdivision plan. Pentair Engineering submitted a preliminary subdivision plan for Windswept Farms along South Fillmore Road. One thing that we do need to discuss with this is they're requesting a waiver from Patton Township in regards to the walking circulation of developed paths and informal paths throughout the track. So I don't know if anyone from Pentair wants to speak, anyone from staff wants to brief us. Please go to the microphone and just state your name for CNET, and we'll be welcome your thoughts.
Sure. So my name is Ron Borger with the Pentair. So we supplied the plans, and I did make the waiver request for the walking trail, the pedestrian circulation. Yeah, so if we can go to the record plan. Yeah, so what we're planning to do when we come back in with the final plans, where the cul-de-sac right-of-way actually ends, we're actually proposing now to extend, if I can point, I don't see a pointer there, but we're going to extend this out about 10 feet wide all the way out to the point where it actually hits the township property. So that'll become part of the township right-of-way, and that will be ultimately dedicated to the township. So by putting that little strip in, we feel that provides an adequate, I guess, access point over to the Burnell Park, right?
Okay. Anything else about that waiver?
Yeah, so the secondary part of that waiver is the construction of the actual paths. So we are seeking relief on that. With providing so this will all be township right of way in this section here. And then with providing the additional 10 feet wide right of way, we feel that that's a very good compromise to allow access ultimately back to the park, to the adjacent park. And I don't know where else we could go with any other walking paths or anything on the site. It's a pretty small development, and to have, interlinking trails throughout it really doesn't meet the intent of the smaller scale subdivision, and trying to keep it pretty rural. Again, we're seeking relief on the pedestrian walkway.
Okay. Anything else from staff, and then we'll open it up to comments from the Planning Commission.
The only thing I do want to point out is the Patton Township Recreation Advisory Committee did look at this plan. Originally, the developer had requested 2 waivers. One was waiving the access to Burnell Road Park along with the internal pathways within the development. So the RAC committee has reviewed this and provided their recommendation right here. So where they're proposing actually aligns with the bike pedestrian path plan that is currently in place.
So you're saying that
The red line is where the RAC committee is recommending that the pathway be
Okay.
to Brunel Road
And
Park.
then, so if I may, where's the windswept property? That's to the north on this plan? Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
Right
here
there.
is where we'd access, okay,
Yeah.
I got you.
So do they align? It's hard to see from two different maps.
They do not.
Yes, they do not. So the Recreation Committee wants it to be,
At Burnell Park Road.
okay.
Yeah, the RAC recommends an entry point into the park from Windswept Farm located at the northwest corner of the park.
Where is the park on my map here?
Seriously.
Do I?
Yeah, I had the same question.
It's rotated again.
Because I don't know what they're talking about, actually.
Yeah, this is,
It's in there.
gonna show you,
First one I had was the whole.
if we go back to the,
That one.
there we go. So this is township property right here.
And is that all a park? Is that all a park right there? Is that,
No, that's a lot.
That's a
Yeah,
lot.
so-
Right
yeah,
here is
so
the park.
These are private lots here, which is part of the tourist site, and then this is Patton Township, this is the park property.
oh,
Right.
and where does your path end?
So our right-of-way was gonna, and this is open to a negotiation, but we were thinking just extend this out, 15, 20 feet, I mean.
To the coin.
So that gets it to the corner of the property?
Yep.
That seems fine.
Well, the one thing too you have to keep in mind, the disc golf course is at that end of
Right
that
there.
property at the park. So you got to be careful where you're bringing pedestrians out onto the middle.
Oh, so they
of
don't
the
get
disc golf.
beheaded by a
Yes.
Correct.
frisbee?
Correct.
Yeah, so is this this golf area here?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've played that, but, so that's why I think we kind of ended it right at that point, just so, it doesn't go out
But
farther.
that's why rec.
That's why-
routed it along that boundary.
Yes.
Correct.
So, because the golf holes are further in the boundary. Unless you got a really bad place. And don't play when it's real windy out there.
Yeah.
Where it's going.
Yeah.
So,
Well, how many extra feet are we talking
Yeah,
that they want?
Well, they specifically want a path,
yeah, they do want a.
and they're asking not to build a path.
Well, no, their waiver is for,
The
their
internal
revised waiver is only for the internal paths within the
So
development.
they still have to build,
So they still have to
This
provide
connection.
that connection.
but this connection really shouldn't terminus at the disc golf, right? It should go further into the park. I mean, that's why you have our Recreation Advisory Committee. They know better than anybody what's out there.
And how many homes are in but you were saying that the reason that you didn't want to do the internal paths is because there really was no need for it?
Yeah, there's seven homes proposed, and they're all large lots, they're all, over an acre parcel, so plenty of recreation on each parcel. Yeah, and I think too, I mean, as a homeowner myself, I don't know if I necessarily want people walking across my yard. So, yeah, so that's why and then we felt too, by providing the connection over to the park, at least the residents from the new development could just access and walk over to the park if they so choose.
I'm kind of leaning towards to go with what the rec says. I mean, I think they're the authorities on this, and based on past years with their recommendations, I think most of them, if not all, have worked out. I mean, I don't know what other people's thoughts are.
Well, mine is, I prefer, right now, I feel like I need more information. I need like an actual overlay of what RAC is suggesting on top of the maps. And
So does RAC want us to go like past all the little dots
Yeah, they want us to go up to the corner there.
up to the corner?
Yep.
So that's quite a bit, how much yardage is that or footage?
That's pretty far. Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, but.
And
I mean,
whose
it's-
lot is that on the corner then?
If the cul-de-sac is 750 feet long, back to that point there is easily probably.
I gotta find the page. They don't
1,000
want to
feet,
go down that
1,100
far.
feet, and go
I
back.
can't find the page where the rack is.
Who owns that other lot on the corner
It's in there
that gets to
somewhere.
there? Is that the same owners?
This here?
Yeah,
Yes.
it is. And are they eventually wanting to develop that?
Remains to be seen. Yeah, I mean, at this point, there's no plans for it, but, you know,
Because if that lot were to sell to if they were to sell that to somebody else, and somebody else didn't want to have a lot of development on there, was just going to use it for like one home, they would not want people walking across their property, I don't think.
well, and that's why we chose rather than an easement to go extend the township right of way, like official township right of way, so that it is not actually part of Lot 6. It'll be its own strip of land kind of dedicated to the township.
And they would have to build the access point. It wouldn't be built by the township. The
Yeah, but I don't-
developer has to put it in.
I don't,
Page 25 has the park and shows where the golf holes are.
page 25?
Page 25.
Yeah.
What page are we looking at? Oh, is that in the big one?
Right here.
RAC wants to have the path come in right at the corner, basically go along the property line
Yeah.
over towards the other corner on that side of the park.
That's why I think our thought was to, where we hit the township property, go about 15 feet past that, 10, 15 feet past that, and then that provides that access point, yeah.
You should come all the way to the corner.
Well, can't we make that like a,
That's there.
when the next parcel
So
is
that's
either
where they wanna
developed
go?
or
Is that the
sold,
corner?
leave it to,
Okay.
at that point? For that?
no,
So, I think there's some confusion here. Can you go back to the bigger plan? That one. Okay, so looking at, scroll down, looking at, what are you doing? Killing me, Smells.
What's another?
There we go. Looking at what the RAC drew out and what we're talking about, I think we're talking about
Right there.
right up in
Right
there
there.
is where they'd like to see it go, right? 60
Oh.
to 80
Yeah.
feet.
60 to 80 feet.
Yeah, that would connect in with some internal pathways that we have in the park then as well.
Oh, okay.
So
I thought you were
that's-
taking it almost
No.
like two-thirds of
No,
the
I
way
thought I
down.
wanted to go to the corner, but no. So that would be their recommendation. So that is what we should actually follow, because that would connect into internal trails in the park.
So that's an additional 60 to 80 feet. Is this like an actual like paved sidewalk type thing, or is this like a?
Shared use,
It's shared use path.
shared use path.
Well, that's another discussion too, is what that surface is going to be.
Yeah, because if you're talking concrete, that's a lot of money.
Typically, they're asphalt.
Asphalt.
Oh, they're asphalt?
Like the valley, like the one.
Like the one on Valley Vista.
Oh, okay, okay.
And I think for safety reasons, that would be important to do as the recreation committee is recommending.
I agree. I agree.
so we're going to be putting bicyclists on this cul-de-sac as a road until it becomes a pathway. Is that what I'm
And
understanding?
where does all this stuff connect to on the other end? Is that
On this.
Yeah.
here.
Fillmore Road.
nowhere? So we're talking really, it's just these people who are living there.
Because the park is so desirable, you're gonna see a lot of people that are gonna be wanting to go to the park anyway.
Oh.
So this is a good way to get them safely into the park.
Okay, so we're talking strollers and,
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
Burnell Road is
Because
a
you-
very popular
You
park.
also have over here on Fillmore, on the Benner Township side, a brand-new development, a large development, which would give them connectivity to come over here as well.
Is there any different, like, type of material cover that the township would support? Just thinking if it's asphalt, anything like that, you know, it's gonna increase more stormwater, so, rather than not put any type of asphalt surface in, I'd like it to be kind of natural, like a natural path, but.
Like rails to trails type of
Oh,
service?
almost, kind of, yeah, something
So-
like
But
that.
how do you maintain that during, like in the snowier weather?
Well, it's not accessible during winter
Right.
weather.
Oh,
It's
wouldn't be,
natural
okay,
surface. Yeah, and it
okay.
does say that there's an existing natural surface trail that was constructed during Burnell Road Park Phase 1 that connects the Wintrust neighborhood to the park. So I think you would want to work with the RAC to see what kind of trail surface you would want it to match up.
So, I'm almost thinking,
That we postpone it?
I
Postpone it.
think we should
Until they-
wait till we
they've-
get
they've talked to the
that
RAC
logistic
and
worked
worked
out.
out that
And
with
then, have it come back in May.
I agree
Or,
with that.
or when,
But before we.
How much does that delay you?
I mean,
We
it'll
will maintain.
push it back a month or so, right? When's the next RAC meeting?
that's what I was gonna ask.
They meet,
Third Tuesday.
third Tuesday of the month.
Third
in
Tuesday
April.
of the month.
I would also say that we'll be maintaining this path, right? So once it goes in, the developer puts it in, and it's the township's responsibility to maintain.
So we want something that's gonna be relatively
Yeah.
inexpensive to maintain.
Well, I mean, I think it's important to talk with the RAC. We can see if they could even be at your next meeting if needed. But I think it's important to understand, this is the cost of doing development.
Okay.
Right? We're not asking for anything and we don't ask other developers for.
Okay.
And we're asking for an amenity because that park is important to us. But I think we'd want to make sure that the trail surface matches up to whatever the trail surface is on the other side in the park. And if it's a natural surface trail, we just want to see what that natural surface is. If it's not paved, we don't need it paved.
Right.
But,
Because there is something to be said about not having, another area that can't soak up water. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm not an engineer, but I'm not sure that impervious surface is a concern on this property, given the land as it is now.
I would vote for it to be like the one right out here on Valley Vista, but I think the RAC is the people that are most first. So I guess to summarize our notes is, one, we would like the RAC to recommend the surface that they feel is best. And then, I don't know if on May 11th, just because I think it would help visually to have, I don't know, a side-by-side or two highlighted, color-coded
Yeah.
things of the initial waiver proposal and what the RAC is proposing on
Yeah.
some type of visual document.
I'd also like to see the surrounding area, because we have to worry about, yes, we need to worry about the development as they want to do it and as it stands, but these future homeowners are going to have traffic coming from other areas across their street into a park. We need to push the developer to plan for that.
So just to be clear, the waiver request that they're requesting is not for this access way, it's for the internal pathways within the
interior.
development.
oh,
They don't want to put in the internal pathways, but they're okay with doing this connection, we just have to. So if you wanted, I'm just throwing this out
What
there.
are the internal pathways that we're talking about?
To the back of the lots.
Yeah, they'd have to have connectivity through the neighborhood. So if you wanted, if you're comfortable with their waiver request and you're comfortable with everything else with the plan but this RAC piece, you could actually take action on the plan tonight with the condition that they work with the RAC to establish the trail surface. And then you don't have to have the plan come back. They could then go meet with the RAC at their April meeting if they wanted to discuss it and make sure they're on board with the trail surface. And then the plan, it would just not, we would maybe not put it on the board's agenda until they've met with the RAC.
And if you did the overlay, would it also show, or could we also see how, if there were an internal path, where it would, like an internal path, would it connect to other,
Internal path inside?
well, I thought you were talking about some kind of pathway behind the homes.
Yeah, like over in here.
Yes.
So is that?
Yeah, but if I was a homeowner there, I wouldn't want somebody walking through my backyard.
Yeah, I mean, as a homeowner myself, I mean, I don't want somebody walking across my property, they fall, they get hurt. It's
Yeah.
just, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I love nature, I love walking.
So it's not
I'm an avid
considered a
biker, but.
right-of-way or anything like that, it's just considered the homeowner allowing people to walk on his
Yeah.
property?
No, that's not true. There's actually state law that says if you have a path behind your house, you're not liable for anything that happens on that path. The state passed that a couple years ago because people were trying to say that they didn't want any land behind them turned into trails because of liability. It was passed about 4 or 5 years ago.
I still wouldn't want anybody going back there. There's no need for anybody to go back there. I don't see what the
Well,
need is.
that's what I was asking, if there was a need, if there might be a need, that was my question.
Well, and keep in mind, the internal pathway would only be available to these 7 lot owners.
Right.
For the residents.
It's not for residents for Brunel, it's, or from Benner Township, it's not for those coming from Brunel Park to walk, it's only designed for this subdivision.
And
I mean,
where would they go? Right? I mean,
Right.
it's just
They can't go into
If-
the
Yeah.
park from the back path.
The more high-quality trail connection in here is the trail connection to Burnell Road, which is why, you know, if you're inclined to agree with the waiver, I don't think the township and its future residents are losing anything by not having internal paths when there's only, you know, 7 lots proposed out
Right.
there.
Okay.
So I say we go with this, with the internal waiver. Yeah, or their waiver for the internal paths. I mean, that doesn't seem to be an issue at all.
I think that's the pedestrian circulation one, right? Yeah.
All right, I will make the motion to conditionally approve, based on meeting with RAC, to develop a trail path that goes in line with the shared use path as depicted here, which is the roadway up to the park.
So essentially, you want him to go meet with the RAC to make sure that the trail surface meets up with what's on the other side in the park.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yeah, the
Condition. Yeah,
condition
that's
that meets
That's
up
the
with.
condition,
To
okay.
condition,
Yeah.
and if RAC may recommend expanding the road as a little bit larger
So that
trail
would be
area.
April 16th? Okay.
Yeah, but if you're gonna be meeting with the RAC anyway, you might as well work out this whole other section, or at least get the overlays, like if that comes back to us, you've got it.
Yeah, so if you approve it tonight, it's not going to come back to you.
Right.
You're giving
yeah, it's-
conditional approval. If you're able to meet with the RAC on the 16th, it would go on the board agenda on the 24th for
Okay.
their approval.
Okay.
Okay.
Second.
Okay.
You just want to get rid of it, okay.
All those in favor of a conditional approval with meeting with the RAC on April 16th, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. Thank you.
All right, thank everyone for their time.
Okay. Now we're up to 6 on our agenda, which is the preliminary final land development plan for Goodwill at 101 Hall Baker Industrial Drive. Pantera Engineering submitted a preliminary final land development plan for Goodwill at 101 Hall Baker Drive. Goodwill proposes to use the existing 8,052 square foot building to be used for drop-off location, as well as the management area for the online sale of books. The applicant is requesting a waiver from Patton Township in regards to the required parking space. For this type is 1 stall per 250 square feet. The total number of parking space required is 32. Applicant's requesting a waiver to reduce the number of parking stalls by 6 to allow a total of 26 parking spaces. Staff wants to make a note that the previous waiver was granted for the property in 2010 when the property was zoned industrial. So, anyone from Pantera staff want to comment on anything else? And we'll take a look at this. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm John Sepp from Pantera, representing the Goodwill project, and I believe the waiver request was in your packet justifying that based on the experiences of Goodwill for an operation like this, they do not anticipate needing anywhere near that amount of parking for the waiver. Other than that, I believe we've met all the technical conditions of the plan. It's a pretty straightforward plan. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, so let's take one thing at a time. So I guess we need to discuss the waiver. How are people feeling about the 26 verse 32?
I feel comfortable with it.
I guess my question is how many people or how many staff members are doing this office work of operating their book stuff? I mean, are we talking 10 vehicles? Are we talking 5 vehicles?
I don't believe it's any more than 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
So is this the location that people are going to be coming in to actually make their purchases, or is this just like a
Just a
sorting and
drop-off.
organizing
Yes.
drop-off?
Okay.
Oh,
Then I
all
don't
But it says
have a problem
book
with it.
sale
Online.
Online.
Online,
only. Okay.
yes.
The books will be online.
So in reality, this is people drive in, drop stuff, people leave.
That's fine.
Correct.
Is there any concern about item 24 with the stormwater management? Or is that an issue, even though it says TBD?
The stormwater,
Yeah, item 24, comments, it says TBD 24, and then it just says it was predated. It may be a
Oh, yeah,
non-issue. I
that's-
was just curious why it was PD.
that's not, the only thing they need to do on that, we had some discussions about the stormwater out there. So they're not turning any dirt or moving any impervious surface, which is what would trigger the stormwater regulations. What we've asked them to do is to have John Sepp, their engineer, go out and just walk the basin to make sure that everything is still installed properly and it's still functioning.
Okay.
That's all we've asked for.
And they're going to put a crosswalk in across Hall Baker Industrial Drive
Yep.
to comply
Painted
ADA
crosswalk,
access.
yes.
I don't have a problem with the 26 because it sounds like cars aren't going to be there more than 5-10 minutes.
Right.
Yes.
So, anything else from the planning commission, staff, anyone online that we want to discuss about this?
Good evening.
No,
Okay.
I'm just glad we don't have to go all the way up to Benedict.
Yeah.
Oh,
On its-
Mr. Stivel would like to say something.
Oh, I'm sorry, someone online?
Good evening. Thank you very much. I represent Rodney Hendricks, and I guess I'm sort of here on behalf of both Goodwill Industries as well as Mr. Hendricks. Indeed, we spoke to the township manager, and Mr. Hendricks will provide, the surface for the painting surface for the crosswalk, and we've agreed to have Mr. Sepp review the stormwater management system, make sure it's in compliance as it was originally developed, and it is functioning in good order. And if there needs to be any adjustments, we would make those adjustments and to make that a condition of approval. We very much appreciate your manager's assistance in this matter.
Okay, thank you.
I make a motion that we approve the parking waiver.
Okay,
I will second the motion to approve the parking waiver.
okay.
Do we need conditions?
Do
We
we
should
need?
do the conditional
Okay,
approval as
so
well.
With the conditions.
Yeah, you could,
item 24, and is it item 24 and item 18 in the?
marked up comment letter,
Yeah,
yep.
so item 18 and item 24, which is the crosswalk that the gentleman just referenced, and the stormwater
As agreed by legal counsel for the property owner.
property owner. Okay, so,
As conditions.
do we have a second? Oh, sorry, okay. All those in favor of a
Condition.
waiver approval based on the conditions of item 18 on the crosswalk, item 24 on the stormwater management, as stated by the owner's legal counsel. Say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. Thank you. It's nice to get that site developed finally.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Yes, and it's good for it not to be turned into a fast food place that would
Yeah.
light up the traffic.
Right, no status on other items? Any
I
other?
actually have
Oh.
something to tell
Oh, I'm
you
sorry.
on other items, and it's very exciting. We have a planner.
Oh.
Jenna
Yeah.
Borgo has been hired by Center Region Planning as the principal planner. Jenna was the planning director in Ferguson Township, and she was also in State College Borough prior to that. She actually was reviewing our plans last fall before she left, so we are ecstatic to get her back. She starts on April 8th, so you will see her at your May meeting, and we are, like I said, over the moon that she's going to be joining Center Region Planning
Wonderful.
and
Yay.
working with Patton Township, so.
That's
Good.
great.
I have a go ahead.
Update on alternate.
Yes, the supervisors at the board meeting on March 27th did agree that they would like to add alternates. So on their agenda for the 10th, we'll have the resolution they have to do, and then they have to amend the planning commission ordinance, which they'll take action on the 24th.
Okay, any other business before we have a motion to adjourn? Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. We are adjourned.